Hi, everyone. It is me, Sailor Starfighter, Dustin here. And today, everyone always wants to know, you know, why did Duane start this Sailor Moon? Started on how did he get into Sailor Moon? But yeah, and I know he may made this film before, but for anyone who hasn't seen it, it's going to be good. But for those who have seen it, well, then you don't have to watch if you don't want to. All right. So way back, it starts back in between 95 YL, when Duane would have been 11 years old. And yes, most of the world may have known what Sailor Moon was, but if you were in the 4-1 Reichs in the Settled at that time, you may have known about it. You may not know about it. Now, at the time, it was back when it was on UPN and WB, those two. So there may have been some mornings where Duane was up. I guess it would have been 5 or 5:30. I don't know. Maybe 6 or 6:30. Who knows? But all he knows is that he happened to see some followings of Sailor Moon. He didn't see all of them, but he did see some of them. And it wasn't like that he amped up having talks at home or at Learn, about Sailor Moon or not. It didn't come up. Why? I don't know. It was just, I don't know. There's a lot of things that you watch and you do, but you don't always talk about it. So years go by, and he may have seen some of them when they were on USA later on, but that's mostly it. Because he may have seen some of them when they were on Cartoon Network or Cartoon or Drawing Show. I don't know. So go years after that, and he forgets about it. He can't even think of what the name of the show was or what it was about. And it wouldn't be until about towards the end of the 8th month of 2008 YL where one day the nostalgia critic, or we call it the past caver, is talking about her, and he goes, "Oh, I think about watching that." And back then, the only way you could see the Deke one, it was all over, First, it was on Euro, and then later on some website called Vugon, I guess. The one with that's around spinning red bind or whatever on all the films. And then that was mostly it. And then there were, far out websites like Anime Planet or Drawing Show World, which a lot of them were, had showings, and hackers were always off shooting their newest evilware in those websites. So, and then another website called Sailor Moon Online, or called, I don't know, Sailor Moon on the interweb. Now that was another one. And that one also had bullshit showings. When I meant they were bullshit showings, is that I meant that they were putting evilware in them, and you didn't know if it was just a showing on its own or something, and it had something else in it. And then after that, you ran into one last website known as SailorMoonTV.com. And yeah, they went down for ownership and double red like all those other websites, or they were pulled off of them. So, and then you had websites like Watch Cartoons Online, Drawing Shows Online, which is the last website to have, the Deke one. Or I should call it the Wild Brian one. Anyway, and then he got into it from that day. and then it would start to buy all the dolls. And yes, well, keep in mind, it's hard to get every single doll ever made because a lot of the early Irwin and Bandai ones are not being made anymore. And their worths are high, their fees are high, no need which website you're buying them from, you know. And he's been to it ever since. Doesn't got every single doll there is, but he's got a big gathering, maybe not as big as everyone else. And he's, you could say he was a latecomer, but he caught up fast, to it. Where a lot of folks have been into it since between 95 YL. Now, I know a lot of folks out there might think, well, always be wondered about how Duane got into Sailor Moon. And, well, okay, there's your answer right there. He just happened to have been watching it when he was younger. And on, UPN, WB, USA, Cartoon, whatever, drawing show, and not think of it until someone talks about it years later and then gets into it. And it's what also led him towards the end of 2008 YL to make, the first Fairway Sailor Moon for Sailor Moon Red, which a lot of folks forget was the first one. And then, followed by, all the other ones that came afterwards. But anyway, that's how we got into Sailor Moon. I know it might not be as cool as a saga as you might think. So anyway, give this film a like, share and playlist it, and I'll see you later.